good when it's in the 90s.
It was in the 60s, the middle 60s this morning, and I got up to turn the air conditioning off. I said, because I know they said it was going to be in the 90s today. Mm-hmm. But we're always thankful for anything but snow.
Yes, Lord.
So we
don't even say that.
so we won't complain. It just stops everything. Desi, we've got 2 new mentees here. Would you like to introduce them?
Some bright new guys, man. I just met them this week. I'm really excited. I got some more boys on my caseload, man. We have Saquon and my man Ray Sean. Give it up for them, everybody.
Yay.
Give it up for them. So we got one middle school, still elementary school, man. Their mom was really excited about having them, paired with me a lot of the times. The agencies like to put me with the good ones, man. They always say, I found the perfect kids for you, man. And then these 2 guys, and it's funny because as soon as we start talking about Star Wars, we instantly connected, man. I felt like I was connected to these young brothers, man, because we start talking about Star Wars, and then from there it was on, man. So these some good guys, man. Thank y'all for coming on to the show today, man. I appreciate you brothers, man. I'm going to let y'all introduce yourselves. Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead, talk to them,
Saquon?
Yes.
You have such an unusual name, and what's your brother's name?
Rashawn.
Rashawn. Well, those are an interesting names.
Beautiful name.
Yeah. How old are you, Saquon?
I'm 13.
You're 13 years old. What grade are you in?
And I'm in 17.
Huh?
I'm in the
7th grade.
7th grade to 17th was it? But that would be what, the 3rd year of college. If it was the 17th, then you're in the 7th grade, huh? What about you, Rashawn? What grade are you in?
2nd grade.
You're in the 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You guys look like you're good friends besides being brothers, huh?
Yeah, man.
I was greeting Rashawn, and Saquon grabbed him by the neck and just pulled him closer to him. And there's nothing more important than family.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more important than family. So what you want to be when you grow up, Saquon?
I'm going to build my own shop of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. You own what?
I'm going to build a shop of Star Wars.
A what? Did you say?
Probably like a gift shop or like a shop with just a lot of memorabilia.
Yes.
A lot of Star Wars.
A gift shop?
I have books, toys, and games.
So you want to be an entrepreneur, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneur is somebody that has their own business. You think Star Trek, Star Wars is going to be around when you get to be grown?
Yes.
You think it's eternal, huh? Forever.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with you. What about you, Rashawn? What you going to do when you grow up?
Play with toys.
You what? Come and talk to the mic. Talk to the mic. What you going to be?
Play with toys.
When you grown, man?
There's grown men toys also.
Well, there are toys.
You said when you get older, you said
what you going to do when you grow? When you go to you going to go to college?
Yes.
And what do you want to be? What do you want to be when you go to college? What do you want to go to college for?
Have a job.
To get a job? Well, that's interesting because your brother, he wants to be in business for himself and you want a job. You maybe think Saquon can hire you to work for him?
Yes.
Since you want a job?
Yes.
So are you going to, Saquon, what about not just selling Star Wars stuff? What if you wrote a story that was as great as Star Wars? What if you sat down and used your brain and imagined something like, who was his name that did that, who wrote Star Wars, started
George Lucas?
Yes, George Lucas. You know George Lucas? Yes. So what if you did something like that? And then you could sell your own paraphernalia and your own stuff. What do you think about doing something like that? Is that an idea too?
Yes.
Yes? Do you like to read?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Yo, that's real good.
I like to read Star Wars books only.
Only? Well, now you do know that that's fiction, right?
Yeah, I know. I like to read fiction.
You like fiction, so maybe you might write some fiction, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna write fiction.
That's incredible. Well, I kind of got the idea that you might like it because you're really inspired. What about you, Rashawn? You said you want to get a job, so if you get a job, what would you want a job doing? Them big eyes. Selling toys? Okay. At least he's consistent. First he want to play with them, then he want to sell them. Okay, maybe you might create some toys that the world will fall in love with. You think maybe that's possible?
Yes.
Yes, would you like to do that?
Yes.
What is your favorite toy right now?
Godzilla.
Godzilla. Ooh, that was good when we were little boys. When I was a little boy, Godzilla was a toy. So that shows you how long a toy can stick around, huh?
Yes.
When you get it right the first time.
Yep.
Well, we're really excited about you boys coming and joining us, and I know Dez is going to bring y'all back around. I wish y'all could see them. If you're on Facebook, you can see these little guys, little fellas, as my mom used to call them, little fellas. I always thought that was so endearing. We got to take care of the little fellas, she always used to say, and so we're happy to have you boys here. Thank you for coming, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Well, as I can as I have said, you can go to Facebook and watch us and look up on us as Paul said to the people at the gate. Look up on us. We are happy to have each and every one of you here. It's been an incredible week.
Yes.
So many things are happening in the nation. So many things are happening here in Baltimore. But you know what? Today I read an article on Facebook. And Demetri, you remember when Mama used to tell us all the time about being careful and not to fray our nerves, not to mess our nerves up? Because
Right.
she said when you mess your nerves up, they don't heal.
That's right.
She said that they fray and they deteriorate and they don't come back to what they were. Well, Lord have mercy, Rosalie. She always knew what she was talking about, although we was young and maybe didn't listen to her like we should have. There is factual proof of this. Did you all know that black people have Alzheimer's at a much higher rate than black people? I mean, black people have a much higher rate than black people. What did I just say?
Yeah, black people have more cases of Alzheimer's.
The black people have Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah, more than white people.
Oh, so black more than white, you said?
Yeah, black
Okay.
more than white.
Okay.
The research found that in white participants, each stressful event added a year and a half to normal brain aging. But in African Americans, each event aged the brain an extra 4 years. Did y'all just hear what I said? When white folks go through a little stress, it only ages their brain a year and a half. But when we have an event, it ages our brains an extra 4 years.
Why is that?
It's because it's inflammation. And just like Mama said, the inflammation builds up in the brain. Stress. And then inflammation is what causes Alzheimer's. Man, I tell you, these white folks been killing us. And we didn't even know how all the ways that they've been killing us. Now, this is just, now y'all gonna look at me cross-eyed when I say, but the burden of religion, trying to worry about pleasing God. And we got to add that on to the racism. We add that on to the worry about trying to feed our families. And, man, we just a ball of knots of stress.
Yes.
Just stress. And I tell you what, you all, we've got to do something about it. It explains the stress and poverty may explain high rates of dementia in African Americans. You can go on my Facebook page and you can read this article if you'd like to. But I was shocked. Harsh life experiences appear to leave African Americans vulnerable to Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, researchers say at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference in London. Several teams presented evidence that poverty, disadvantage, and stressful life events are strongly associated with cognitive problems in middle age and dementia later in life on African Americans. These findings could explain why African Americans are twice as likely as white Americans to develop dementia. And the research suggests genetic factors are not a major contributor. Genetics has very little to do with it. The increased risk seems to be a matter of experience rather than ancestry, says a Dr. Megan Zuhlsdorf. Scientists have struggled to understand why African Americans are so likely to develop dementia. They are more likely to have conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes, which can affect the brain. And previous research has found some evidence that African Americans are more likely to carry genes that raise the risk. But more recent it goes on to say, this lady, Dr. Whitmer, has been involved in several studies that accounted for genetic and disease risk when comparing dementia in white and black Americans. And we still saw these racial differences, she says. So there's still something there that we're trying to get at. The research presented at the conference suggests the missing factors involve adverse life experiences. Wait a minute, Desi. And they begin in childhood. Did y'all hear what I said? These little fellas right here. It starts. The experiences have already been linked to a range of diseases, including heart disease and cancer. We're starting to understand how early life stress and early life deprivation can cause you a risk of a number of health outcomes in later life, Whitmer said. And the latest thing is understanding how and why that might affect the brain. Whitmer was part of a team that presented the results of over 6,000 Kaiser Permanente Health Plan members. The team wanted to know whether people who grew up in harsher conditions were more likely to develop dementia. So they looked at people who'd been born in states with high infant mortality. That's where the babies don't live a long time. Mortality rates, an indicator of social problems like poverty and limited access to medical care. White people's risk of dementia wasn't affected by their birth, 40% more likely to develop dementia if they had been born in a state with high.
That's it, you know. Leave him on the way here.
That it's just a normal rite of passage, but it says stressful experiences, including having parents with a drinking problem, financial insecurity, legal issues, divorce, being fired from a job, and the death of a child. And they did not mention racism here, but I'm going to add that. Okay, because that is the biggest one, because you got fired because you was either late or you couldn't do the job, or there was a white person came in there that you trained for your job, and then they fired you. Come on, we cannot eliminate that. They don't mention racism as a main stress agent. African Americans reported 60% more of these stressful events than white Americans, but that was only part of the difference. The impact of these stressful events was strong in African Americans, non-Hispanic white participants. The researchers discovered this by administering tests that reveal the brain's speed and flexibility in doing tasks. These abilities normally decline with age, so the team looked for evidence that stressful events were accelerating this decline. And they found that in white participants, each stressful event added about a year and a half to normal brain aging. But in African Americans, each event aged the brain an extra 4 years. The next, I know, man. Well, every time I read that, I just get a chill. I mean, we kind of mad. So let me say this. So the children. Remember that the article said it starts with the children. So if you're constantly arguing with your child, always on their cases for doing things that a child does because they're a child, not putting stuff back where it's supposed to be. And if you say, Johnny, did I tell you to do that? Oh, I forgot. How could you forget? Get up there and do it before I beat your ass. Instead of saying that, remember their children. So if you said, Johnny, I told you not to do that. Now go and do it again. I don't want to have to tell you again. Then ask them how come they keep forgetting. When you do something, what happens to you, Saquon, when your mama tell you, I told you not to do that again? What do you be thinking? Did you forget to do it, or why do you keep doing it? Tell me.
I sometimes forget, but I don't want to. I just don't want to stress my mama, so I just do it anyway.
Oh. So that relieves the stress on you, huh? You smart. What about you, Rashawn? Oh, you a good boy. I heard that.
I don't actually do nothing.
I heard that. He said, if talking to the mic, you say you don't actually do nothing? So every time she tells you to do something, you get it done?
Yes.
You asked, right? Because you don't want no stress either, huh?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's a good way to look at it. But you have brothers and sisters? Do y'all have other family members?
We got a sister.
Yes.
We got a baby sister. She's like 5 years old. She'll be 6.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Y'all help take care of her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you love her, your little sister?
Me and him protect her from anybody.
You protect her. Wow.
I can tell.
Yeah, I can tell too, because you were protecting him. What do you have to say, Rashawn?
My sister is good at school. She does not do nothing to other kids. That's why they mess with her.
That's why they mess with her. She's trying to get her business done. You ignore those bad kids, the kids that are trying to get you in trouble too? What about you, Saquon?
Well, I don't pay them no mind.
Come on in that room. Somebody done got to y'all and told y'all the way to go. That's it. Don't pay no attention because they don't mean nothing, do they? If they're your friend, your friend. If they're not your friend and they're bullies, get away from them.
I don't even worry about what they say. They may call me names, but it's still my word.
Okay, that's what my mama. They say sticks and stones, they break my bones, but words don't bother me.
Yep.
I heard that. You guys, man, you got a couple of good ones here.
Yeah, because on the way here, we was talking about one of his cousins had anger issues, and I was like, you just got to start dealing with people accordingly. You know that person got anger issues. You know what not to set off. You know when not to go around them. You know how to speak. That's how you're going to go through that your whole life. People with different issues that you have to deal with them a certain way, so that you don't let them knock you off your path and what you got going on. And that's really important, man. And as you go along in your life, you'll see.
You will see. Man, I'm really excited about meeting you guys, but I'm always excited about meeting young people because they're so important. People say they're the future, but no, they are now. They are now. And what they learn now and what they learn how to learn now will carry them for the rest of their lives. I just was sort of impressed with what Saquon had to say. He said, I pay them no mind. That's the best thing you can do because they have nothing to do with anything. Some of them are bullies. They're mad because their parents beat them. They're mad because they don't nobody listens to them. Your mommy listen to you?
Yes.
Your mommy listen to you, right?
Yes.
And y'all can explain stuff?
Yes.
See, that's a good mommy. And if we start doing that to our children, we'll relieve that stress. Y'all got to remember that we got to look for solutions. We read this research and we see, okay, we understand. But I see some people, man, I see some young people I think are demented. They just always angry at everybody. One fellow said to me a few weeks ago, he said, Mr. Patrick, it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. Is that true, Desi?
Yeah. Sometimes they look at the way the energy coming off of the words and not exactly what's going on. So sometimes all of us, we really have to watch how we say things. Because I find myself more so getting frustrated of this more than the situation itself. Because my stepdaughter, my daughter, I gave her something to play with. She take it to school. One of her friends took it from her, and I was so mad at the situation. She thought I was mad at her. I was like, if anything, I'm mad at the fact that you're letting people pick on you. And it took a woman to say no. You got to back up off of it. You want her to be tough. That's a little girl. Women are girls. We want people. She want people to like her. She's trying to maintain her friendship with these people. But I'm like, but that's not your friend. Like, but she doesn't have to be able to maneuver your way around these different types of people. Because she just was so scared to tell me when she was in the house. And when she told me she got it, she knew that I was mad about it, but she was just more so sad that me being disappointed in her, and that mattered the most to me. She was like, I just don't like when you mad at me for stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the situation that you won't stand up for yourself. I don't want to come up there and have to yoke somebody's child up. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want you to be able to stand on your own. We shouldn't have to come up there for you. I want you to stand on your own. I want to make you stronger. And if I'm having these conversations with you, you know what I'm saying, I want you to take them with you wherever you go and remember what I said. And she's doing a lot better at it, but at first it was just like I have to calm down on my passion for the situation because I know how I was when I was young and how Wayne was on me and how my father was when we don't let nobody push you around and you don't have to have these people be your friends. And me stepping right into being a father, I'm understanding it more and I'm more patient. So as a teacher, you got to start making your child think critical, man. It's so many kids are getting so much trouble off of that way of thinking. It's somebody hit you in the back. Y'all not looking at the whole situation as a whole. Kids don't even realize it. Sometimes they don't even realize they hit somebody else. You never see sometimes I just sit back and watch how these kids handle some of these situations when they arguing and disagreeing. They get so caught up in being right or not liking what the person is saying. They don't even realize they hit the person. And then you come over there and say, why'd you? My mom said, no, I just sat here and watched you do that. And it's like their brain is so many completely different.
get in trouble, then you got to go to the school. And you're going to protect your child, and the teacher's going to feel like, what am I doing here?
Yep.
They're going to feel like, man, this is crazy. Because I notice it all the time. Like you say, they hit each other. They're playing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mean no harm. It just depends on how fragile the one is in front that gets hit. And once they are hit, or once they want to retaliate, then you got trouble. Okay? So the whole idea and the premise of this show today is, how do we distress? How do we distress? I would like to recommend to many of you something that works for me. I believe in prayer, but I believe prayer is spiritual therapy. And normally when you go to prayer, you're asking God to do something for you. And, you know, he might answer, he might not answer back. Whatever your mind tells you happens. But there's another form of prayer, and it's called meditation, where you go and you sit and you just acknowledge that God is God and that God is in you, ask to be forgiven, and all those things, and to be forgiving, and take your place. And in the process, Saquon, you be quiet. You don't let nothing enter your brain. You just be quiet. You think of something beautiful you love. It could be a beautiful meal you had. It could be flowers. And don't let your brain think of nothing but that. Close your eyes and do it for 5 minutes. And every time something tries to come into your mind, say no, and put your mind back on that one thing. What it does is it de-escalates all the neurons. It stops them from moving, because as long as you're not at peace, everything is battling for attention in your mind, because the mind is a computer. And if that computer is always going, you know, the only way my computer stop is what I got to do to Saquon. What I do?
Concentrate.
I got to cut it off if I don't want it to compute no more, right? Just the same way with our brains. Sometimes we got to say, I'm not going there today. You got to tell your mind, and you have to repeat it, and you have to do it over and over. I've been doing this now for the last 4 or 5 years, and there are days when I forget it. When I forget to tell my mind, oh, no, we're not going there today.
Yeah.
You got to practice it. Telling your mind, because, y'all, we got to distress. It's killing us. It's killing us. Alzheimer's. Look at this dementia. And the way Trump is going to them, so that means our children are going to have to take care of us. I said it. So you got to make sure they.
Right.
What you say,
That's
Mitra?
right. Medicaid will be gone.
Yes.
Medicare.
Yeah, and it ain't gonna be in the nursery. You're not gonna be able to afford them. So you got to make sure that your children got good educations, so that they can make sure that they'll be able to help take care of you. Y'all got to stop treating these children as though this is the last road for them. They're gonna be there on your last bed, sitting at your bedstep when you getting ready to get out. And my grandfather had 12 girls before he had one boy, because he was a sharecropper. You know why he was having all them girls? Because he needed help.
Yep.
He needed help. And you're going to need help too. So you got to prepare these kids to not only take care and have a full life for themselves, but you're going to have to train them now and help make sure they got good education, and let them know you love them, and teach them how to distress, and stop keeping them in a stressful situation all the time. Because eventually we all going to get tired and get older, and we're going to need help. My mother always says, she said, Pat, you're going to regret not having children. And I said, why, Mom? She said, because when you get old, you're going to need somebody to take care of you. Those were her words. I'm trying to get rich, so I don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, I understand what she was saying. If you got children, grandchildren, you got family members, y'all remember, if you take care of your own will take care of you.
And that's the meat and potatoes to it, because from this point on, I know I'm coming in late. I was blocked in on a lot. But, Pat, man, this brother right here is always taking care of somebody. And even if you don't have children, long as you are taking care of somebody, you will be taken care of. You will be taken care of. You know what I mean? We're always working with the kids, and we're always working with the seniors, and we don't ever have to come out our pocket.
God makes a way.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm saying that to everybody. A lot of times we're looking at what we don't have and say, well, I can't take care, I can't help them because I don't have this, I don't have that. Sometimes all we need is a conversation. You see what I'm saying? Just real talk. You know how many stressful situations I've been through out there, and it was one of the old heads, what we call them back in the day, to step out and say, boy, you all right? You looking like you ain't got it all together. Anything I can help you with? Sometimes that's all you need. Just to see this, for people to show that they care. You know what I mean? Most of the time they're going to be like, nah, I'm good. But that validation is everything. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we looking at our children and we looking at them like they're not ever going to be grown. You have to be preparing them to take care of you. And right now we're in a place where, you know, I'll be 38 this year, man, and I'm seeing myself, you know, looking at my kids and trying to make sure that they have all they got, and I'm seeing them looking at me making sure I'm good. Dad, you all right? Is everything okay? Is you good? You know what I'm saying? That love is always reciprocated. It's always, you know, a give and take thing. So, you know, we got to put in a little if we want to get a little.
That's right. No, nothing invested in there. You can't take nothing else. Just like a savings account. If you want interest, you got to make the deposit.
Yeah.
Ain't no interest without no deposit.
That's real. You can write that down, brother.
Yeah, ain't no interest without the deposit.
That might be the bank's model already.
Right.
Well, I tell you, we come on Sundays, and we had other things we wanted to talk about, but whenever I read something that it just grabs me by my heartstrings, because I see it. I see the dementia, and people start thinking it's normal when mama's cranky. He said, Mama, why are you so angry all the time? She got the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Yeah, man.
And if she wasn't married, she got the weight of 2 worlds on her shoulders. And then if you acting a fool, she got the weight of 3 worlds on her shoulders.
That's right.
So y'all must remember how much we're going to put on them.
Yeah.
But how much we're going to put on our children to let them know that they are loved and they are precious to us. Because eventually they're going to be the ones that are going to be there for us.
Yeah, man.
Let's start treating them like that.
And Pat, you know, we've been working the past couple of years in the community, and we're seeing the folks that have taken heed and moved forward.
Oh, yes.
But what hurts more is the ones that don't make it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you know, me and Pat was really, really hurt about a lot of the young men that we worked with over in the Dofield community that are dead right now.
Yeah, man.
And that hurt, that pain turned to anger in me. You know what I'm saying? Because it made me mad that y'all could just throw your life away like this. Leave your kids on your kid's mother and the women and grandwomen that raised you. You know what I mean? It's like we just give up and just quit and just say, you know what? This is all that I have. This is all I'm gonna get, and this is how I'm gonna live. Yeah. You know what I mean? Every single day that you wake up, family, I don't care who you are, you have the option to change what's going on in your life. You know what I'm saying? You have the option to step up in somebody's life and be a blessing.
Yes.
If nothing, you know what I mean? Don't walk around carrying that pain and that burden that you went through 20 years ago, that you went through 10 years ago. Step up and try to be a benefit to somebody else, somebody's child, somebody in your community, so they don't have to go through that same foolishness.
You know what, Wayne? You just said something. I was noticing from my summer program, 90% of the guardians for my kids are grandparents. 90%.
Wow, 90%.
90% guardians are grandparents. Now, y'all just think about that. Where are those children's mothers and fathers? Their grandmothers registered them in the program. Then a third of them, on top of that, are in foster care.
Right.
But that's all right. Liberty Elementary School, God bless you. God bless you, Mr. Manco, Kim Trueheart, Janice Hyman, all of the teachers there, all of you all that are appropriating and making a way for our kids to find some sanity in the midst of all this chaos. We ask you all to join us tomorrow at 11:30. We're going to have a hot show. Jason, who we got on?
Tomorrow we're going to have the councilman's office. Mr. Davis is going to be on, the chief of staff.
For Jack Young?
For Jack Young, for Council President Jack Young. And we're going to talk about the new gun legislation new gun ordinance we're looking at passing in Baltimore City.
Okay. And are we going to get into the interview with Dr. WWIN?
We're still looking at getting that
get her in.
So
we've got this incredible interview. You all could have gone to my page and saw it. But we got that interview there, and remember the question was, what you heard was, why are they not passing out condoms in jail? Because I just looked at a report the other day that Baltimore is #1 in AIDS and HIV infection, and it's going to our women. And there's a reason why, and we believe we know the answer. So we ask you all tomorrow to join us at 11:30 on Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Say goodbye, Wayne.
Peace, family.
Sorry you were locked in. We missed you.
No, yeah, it's all good, yo. July 29th, family, concert pool party. Look us up on Facebook. It's on my page. Get involved. It's for a youth program.
Yes, and Desi.
Peace. See y'all next week.
Bye, boys. Nice to meet y'all. Y'all gonna come back to see us?
Yes.
Did y'all have a good time?
Yes.
Now y'all know y'all radio stars now, right?
Yeah.
All right, then. Jason, thank you, and Dwayne, thank you.
Always.
God bless y'all.
Love your family.
We'll see
Love
and hear
your
you tomorrow at 11:30 on WLB 1010 Baltimore. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on Spirit 1400. God bless.
WWIN Baltimore, WWIN HD Baltimore.
On the web at spirit1400.com.
Spirit 1400, the spirit of today's gospel.
The spirit of today's gospel.